I must admit, I got it wrong on Urza's foils. Welcome back to my channel. I am Mattcaster Mage, and I do make Magic the Gathering content every single day here on YouTube. So if you do enjoy my videos, please consider subscribing and joining in on all the fun we have here. Now, I talk a lot about old border foils, not so much recently, but when this channel first started, I would mention them quite a lot, and I was actually really happy when they brought them back in the Time Spell Remastered as a time-shifted version of a lot of cards, a lot of staples. I thought that was a really neat idea, and I was on board with it. And the cards, they did look nice, but they still just, they can't really quite replicate how amazing some of these old frame foils are. It's just, you know, I don't know if it's they just don't have the same materials that they did. Maybe they don't exist, the same materials that they had from all the way back then. Maybe the mix that they use to foil them out is just not there, or it's just too pricey, so they kind of, you know, look for ways to cut the cost. Like, you know, obviously we know that they've cut the cost before. It's not something that they wouldn't do again. You know, when they cut the cost for Battle for Zendikar around that era, Ixalan, the card quality was really bad. They would just warp almost immediately out of package. But that's a whole other discussion. Today we're going to talk about Urza's foils and how I was wrong about them. Now, I do love 7th edition foils. I mean, it's on my playmat right here. Got any 7th edition foils? 7th edition foils are some of my favorite cards in Magic the Gathering, but I feel like I've overlooked and underappreciated the value of the Urza's foils. Now, the Urza's foils were the first foils that we ever got from Magic the Gathering. Actually, the first foils were not Urza's Saga, but they were Urza's Saga. They had the logo on them, but they were actually promos. Those were some of the first ones. They're arena promos. That was the first foils that we ever got from Magic the Gathering. But the actual first sets to have foils were Urza's Legacy and Urza's Destiny. Now, I love 7th edition. I'll go to my, here, one of my Urza's pages here. I love 7th edition foils. I absolutely love them. However, I must admit, there's one thing that I overlooked, and that's the fact that the Urza's block did have reserve list foils. Yes, you do not get reserve list foils with 7th edition. However, the thing I do like about 7th edition is that they feel a lot like a lottery card because it's a white border, you know, set, and it was the first time you got foils like that in a white border set with 7th edition, and it was just wicked to see that, you know, the black border. It almost felt like a lottery card, you know, like with the Omega imitations, you kind of get a little inkling of what is behind the card because it's got a different border. That was kind of the way it felt with 7th edition foils. However, Urza's block have very, very pricey foils. Not just the reserve list foils, but if you've been watching my market mover videos, the last 2 minutes, I go over foil movers, and a lot of the foil movers that have been moving very lately have been Urza's block foils, and for good reason. You know, they're very scarce. The first set to have old frame foils in a mass-produced set. So very, very cool. Now, these are actually arena promos. They do have the Urza Saga symbol there, but they weren't released in Urza Saga booster packs. These were arena promos. Now, donate. See, this is where we get into this is where the full set actually happens. Donate is a reserve list card, and you do get it in foil. Very, very rare. You can't get a lot of old frame foils that are reserve list cards. Pretty much it's Urza's Saga. I mean, not Urza's Saga, Urza's Destiny and Urza's Legacy are pretty much it. There is like cards like Phyrexian Negator that was a foil in a dual deck, but, you know, not very expensive. But for example, like Donate right here, this foil, I think it's pushing a little, like over $200 right now. I think it might even be more than that. And I think that's actually undervalued for a reserve list old frame foil like that. Powder Kegs as well. I have quite a few of these. Ring of Gix. Now, these are also reserve list cards. So very, very cool. Powder Keg actually had another release without the old frame foil, and I think that was a promo, an F&M promo, I believe. But Urza's foils are, I think, underappreciated, and if you've been watching my market mover videos, obviously you've seen some of the movements on those cards, and it's just something I thought I would bring up in a video and admit that, yes, I was wrong, because I was asked on quite a few occasions what I think about the Urza's block foils, and I said, yeah, you know, they're okay. I still like 7th edition foils better because I just think they just look better. However, you know, the Urza's block ones have reserveless cards. It's something I knew like that they had reserveless cards, and I did state that before. So I'm not wrong about that, but I'm wrong about the actual price movement on these cards. They have been going up a lot. And like, yeah, Powder Keg, I think what is this, around $150 to $200 right now. But it, you know, it does have another printing, so that could be putting a little bit of downward pressure, because there is another foil that was an F&M promo, I believe. And that could be keeping the price from moving too much. However, you also have to remember, as my camera keeps moving to the side, jeez, okay. You also have to remember cards like Donate and Karn Silver Golem. I think this one has a Relics one, but Donate does not have any other printings, neither does Ring of Gix. So this is the only foil versions of these that will ever be released, because they are reserve list. And yes, they've done some reprints before, but now they've really tightened down on reprinting reserve list cards, even as like judge promos and things in dual decks. So you will not see any of these cards reprinted in, you know, regular new frame foil, but an old frame foil, yeah, absolutely, it'll never happen, even though I know Wizards of the Coast now is kind of reintroducing old frame foils as promos. There was like a lot of support your LGS promo. Some of those were, in 2021, were old frame foils. We had the time shifted foils from Time Spiral Remastered. We had the old frame foils from Modern Horizons 2. So yes, they are trying to bring them back to some capacity, because there is a lot of older collectors who really appreciate the old frame foils. You know, like me, I'm one of the people in general who really love these foils. But Urza's foils, very, very overlooked, and I think underappreciated. And people are starting to finally catch on, like myself, that these are highly, highly collectible, and there is a lot of upward potential with these cards right here. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoy content like this, so this video does make it into YouTube's algorithm and my channel can grow more and more, as I'm trying to get to 15,000 subs by this year's end, and all the likes and comments that you guys have been doing have really, really helped the channel. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Being a patron will help me produce more market movers and add to the funds that I will use for my random buys, and also to my coffee fund, because I drink a lot of coffee for these videos. And here you can see a link below in the description that will give you all the tiers and what you get in each tier. So I hope you guys click and think about joining. And with that, I'll see you next video. Think about supporting the channel in that way. If not, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I will see you again in the next video.